Hi, welcome back to Chop's Garage, the real life car trading channel, and today we've got another example of how crazy the small automatic market is. I've documented for you many times on this channel recently how in demand small automatic cars are. My phone rings off the hook for them. I get emails all the time from people, normally, to be honest, with a bit more of a limited budget, sub £5,000 kind of market. Now I need to be really clear, it's not all automatics are in demand, it's small CC petrol automatics that are in demand. So you can't go buying yourself stuff like a Range Rover and think the phone is going to ring off the hook because it's got an automatic gearbox. It has to be a small CC, so by that I mean ideally sub 1600, really sub 1400. And so when I got a phone call from the guys down at Moore's, the local garage that does my work, they said there's a customer down here, unfortunately due to ill health, can't drive anymore, wants to get rid of their car. They said it's a Mini, which those of you who watch the channel know I'm not massively keen on Minis, but when they said it was an automatic, it made my ears prick up. When they said it was an automatic Clubman, which I've not had a Clubman yet, I thought, oh, okay. Then there was the kicker. The mileage on this car is just under 16,000. It's only done 15,900 miles. They only put one door on these little mini Clubmans, one back door, and this one opens up onto the road, which is an interesting decision on their part. The other side obviously doesn't have any door at all on it. But then you get like, obviously you've got like a mini estate, because as in literally mini, you've got these little back doors which are sort of sprung loaded and ping open. And you've actually got a usable boot on a Mini. It drives really, really nicely. I'm impressed how well it drives, to be fair, because I've driven, most of the time I've been driving the Cooper S's, and they have the great big alloys on and the rubber band tyres, and the harder suspension. They crash absolutely everywhere. This, I thought, with an automatic gearbox, it's got the 1.6 120 horsepower, because this is the Cooper. This isn't the Cooper S, this is the Cooper. So it's the 1.6 petrol, 120 horsepower. Drives really nice. It's got all the power you want, but with a bit more rubber on it, it just rides much nicer. Obviously, with the mileage, like I said, it's all in really nice condition. Yeah, that's the big thing though. Automatic. I think that's the thing that will sell it. If we put the ignition on, I've got two keys obviously, and the Minis, they go in the dash like that. And if I put my foot on the brake and start her up, does need a service. 15,984. Actually, Pete just did a service on this, so we need to reset the service meter on it. And what's the fans going full bore for? Yeah, so I had Pete do a service on it for me the other day, so we've got to reset the service meter on it. Yeah, 15,984 is the mileage. Didn't need to do an MOT on it because it came with a new advisory free MOT. So yeah, as I said, all we did was got PD to do because obviously these are chain driven, not cam belt, just got to do the oil and filters on it. Now, I hope you're sitting down, don't hold any hot drinks near you when I tell you how much Auto Trader values this car at with the mileage it's got on it. Auto Trader values this at, so obviously allowing for the mileage and for the age and for that it's automatic, £13,000. £13,000 for a 2011 Mini. Now, I agree that with the mileage it's got, the algorithm, the way it works, will calculate that's what it's worth compared to the average car out there. These I'm seeing with about 50,000 miles on it, around about the £8,000 mark, I think. 8 or 9 grand. I'm seeing them online. I doubt they're as clean as this one is, to be fair. But I just can't see someone coming along and paying me £13,000 for this. So what I did is I was honest with the seller and said, well, that's what an algorithm says it could retail for. I don't think in reality anyone is going to give me that for it. I think they just go for a newer shape car with higher mileage, something like that, or a younger car with higher mileage. So all of my stuff was factored on, really undercutting them by a lot. So this is going up for 9,995. I'm beating Auto Trader by over £3,000. I think it's 13,400, so about £3,400 less than Auto Trader says it should be. And we'll see how I get on with that. Now, while we're talking about huge discounts from prices, it's time to let you know about the special offer from our sponsor today, Surfshark, exclusively for Chops Garage viewers. Surfshark provides you with a VPN, a virtual private network. That VPN gives you a secure internet connection whilst you're online, protecting you and your data. In addition to that, it allows you to access geo-locked content when on streaming services. Now, what I mean by geo-locked content is that all the streaming services you use will limit the content you can view based on the country you're in. So let me show you this as an example. On Netflix, let's say I want to see The Meg, because I love a shark movie. Jaws is my absolute favourite, of course. But it's not available to me because it's not available in the UK. So if I go simply up to my Surfshark here and select a change to a United States internet connection, a United States IP address, Netflix will now think I'm in the US. So if I refresh the page, Meg is now available for me to watch. And as I said, this will work on a wide range of streaming services and allow you access to loads of stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to see. Great news is that Surfshark have an exclusive offer running from the 20th to the 28th of November, where you can get up to 6 months free when you use the code CHOPS. So make sure you jump on that offer while it's still there, 20th to the 28th of November. Use the code CHOPS and get up to 6 months free. There's a link in the video description down below. I want to thank Surfshark for being a continued sponsor of Chops Garage. We've got an empty space where our little Toyota Yaris we took in part exchange was. Unfortunately, I did do video content on it, but I lost the video content. Unfortunately, I used the software to recover it from the hard drive, but it was gone. So we took in the 2010 Toyota Yaris in part exchange against the other Toyota Yaris, the newer one we had in. It was a really clean car, 101,000 miles, I think it was. Oh, door banging. 101,000 miles, I think it was. Put it down for an MOT, spent about 250 quid on MOT for it, didn't need an awful lot. And put it up for 3,195. It sold in a heartbeat. I will close the door in a second. It sold in a heartbeat. Lad's first car, I came and picked it up last night. And happy as Larry. And that just shows where the market is at the moment, guys. 2010 Toyota Yaris isn't dropping any money at all. The bigger stuff, if you let it sit for a month, you could be losing £300, £400, £500 and it devaluing. As always, small cars is where the cash is. So you might say, James, just do small cars then. Well, the trouble is, everybody else knows this, and the small car market is tight. Stuff at auctions, if you watch other people's videos, the small cars at auction are going well above their value, leaving margins wafer thin in it. Private sellers are wise. You look on Facebook, private sellers are asking dealer money for their cars without anywhere near the same level of prep or obviously any warranties. So it isn't a case of just finding small cars. It's not that easy. So we're going to have to start probably promoting a little bit that will take part exchanges in, I would say. And speaking of which, there was another small car I took in part exchange. Just thought I'd give a little go and just for fun. And again, I've lost the content on it, unfortunately. A 2005 Suzuki Wagon. I have got the footage of when I picked it back up again. I'll go back in time. I'll do a prequel about it. We took it in part exchange, gave £150 for it because the guy was going to scrap it, but it seemed to run and drive okay. I took it for a little test drive. It seemed to run and drive okay. So I whipped it down to the M&B guys down the road and said, look, just have a look over the car for me and tell me whether it's worth doing anything with. I said, if it turns out that it needs too much work, stop and just charge me for having had a look at it. But if you think you can get it for an MOT for a couple £100, do it, because I've got a friend whose son really wants a really cheap little run around. And with small cars being in demand and cheap small cars being in demand, because I get phone calls every day with someone with £2,000 to spend. Not I'm saying that would be £2,000, probably, you know, £1,200 car at best, I guess. Yeah, I said let's have a look at it. So I have got the footage of when I picked that back up again, so you can find out what happened with that, and I will insert that shortly. Right, I'm sure you're all desperate to know, now that the Suzuki Wagon is back, what the score is. What was the verdict? Unfortunately, it's going to have to be put down, I'm afraid. Petrol tank's rotten out, they reckon. They can smell fuel underneath it. It needs trap rod ends, it needs gaiters, it needs some brakes, I think. I forget everything. They reckoned it was going to cost us £250 for the tank alone. Then you've got fitting. I was going to be £500 or £600 into a car that's probably worth £500 or £600. So it's unfortunately, if the mileage was low, it might be worth having a look at. But with 100 and whatever thousand miles it was, it's not worth it. So it's going to the scrap man, I'm afraid, which I really hate to do to the little car. But what option have we got? I'm a business. I'm not like I'm not a rescue centre for old Wagon Rs. So unfortunately, it would have been a good little run around for my friend. So unfortunately, that's got to go. I was going to say I was going to be 50 quid down from having a look at it, but the boys have refused to charge me for it. So I'm going to be about flipping probably a tenner down and picking up some pasties for them, having a look at that. That's Devon trade, by the way. If someone won't charge you for anything, you get some pasties for them. So. And we'll go down to, is it the Cell Butchers in South Molton, do the best pasties, guys. Whew. Anyway, second one up, we're going to have them have a look at the Jazz, but I'm going to tell them in advance that I need to pay for it. I'm never comfortable when people don't want to charge me for stuff, because then when I next want something doing, I feel that they think I'm not going to want to pay for it, expect it free again. So I'd rather pay. So I'll take the pasties down and say, you need to charge me for having a look at this one. We'll see if the Jazz is worth doing or not, that we picked up in part exchange, so that maybe that can be a good car for my friend's lad. But I'll have to update you on the next video how we get on with that. Once again, we're calling the big guns for something a little bit special. We've got the Renault Sport Twingo, the number 50 of 50, don't forget, Silverstone Renault Twingo. Renault Sport Twingo. It's Sam, of course. Sam is hitting this one up for me. He's going to make it sparkle, and then we're going to tuck it away safely in the showroom, and we will see what response we get. The only problem you get with these, which is very common, is the back seats. Anybody's had a Twingo knows these back seats start to wobble away. I think there's spacers or something. We'll have a little look at them and see if we can't improve that. But I haven't driven one yet where as you're driving along you don't hear the back seats rattle away a little bit. Well, Sam's done his magic again. Look at the Twingo, Renault Sport Twingo. It looks brilliant. In fact, now he's cleaned it up and I realised how clean it is, Sam's fallen a bit in love with it. He's wondering if it can work as a valeting van. Now that it's come up so clean, it really is in good nick. I'm looking at stuff and thinking, oh, I better do that, I better do that. Because I think it really is going to be tucked away in someone's little collection. Mileage isn't quite low enough to make it major collectors, but being number 50 of 50 of the Silverstones, an enthusiast is going to be interested. So what I've decided I'm going to do is get a new headlight. This one here has got some rusty stuff going on at the bottom of it, and it's fogging up, whereas this one's decent, and I can get brand new ones online for about £115, so it's about 100 or so after the VAT. I think that's just going to lift it to the next level, because the wheels were refurbished before I purchased it, so they're all mint. It's got Continentals. Is it Continentals all the way around? Yeah, Continentals all the way around. So, like I say, it's just come up so nice. The paint doesn't need any paint doing on it. The paint is really nice all the way around. So yeah, I think it's worth going that extra step with something a little bit more special. Mind you, I guess I would have done that headlight on pretty much any car. Yeah, it looks fantastic. I don't want to take it for a drive now and get it dirty again. Oh, I had a little fiddle as well while Sam was cleaning it and solved the issue of rattling back seats in a Twingo. I read it online, so I can't take full credit for it. I'm going to change that bulb out. I don't know why that bulb is that colour. But the seats basically go into the floor with two big metal pins. And when they cut the carpet for the pins, they cut it quite a long way round the floor pan. So you've got a hole this big of bare metal, and then you've got the pins like that. Well, when the seats lock down, they rattle. Now, if you see this one, you can hear that one. This one here, it's not making that noise at all. All I've done is stuck a bit of fabric over that hole and cut across in it, so the pin then passes through the fabric into that clip and isn't resting metal to metal. So there's my one, there's Renault's one. It's not a case of being loose, it's locked in place, but it's just you've got metal on metal down there. So fix that. Speaking of small cars, the 2010 Skoda Fabia that I wasn't going to do any paint to, and I was just going to try and wet sand it to tidy it up. Well, as you can see, things have escalated somewhat. The wet sanding didn't do so well. I could have left it because the deal with the customer was that it wasn't going to get done. But again, it's his first car. It's just a bit of labour on my part, isn't it really? But it is silver, which is a pig. And you'll see that even though the paint area was just underneath the door handle there, I am blending a long way either side, and I'm blending into the other door as well. So in following morning, we've got a lot on today because this Fabia needs to go out. I lost a day, unfortunately, yesterday. Simple trip to the dentist turned into surgery, so I lost a day. So we still got to machine polish the rest of the car, clean the headliner, replace the fuse in the, replace the heater resistor fuse which lives underneath the airbag. So the paint yesterday, the big thing with silver, those of you who watch the channel for a while, is normally with silver you end up with a ghosting line where the two silvers meet, a darker line. Practice makes perfect. Over the years I've perfected. Many of you have seen the mistakes I made before. But yeah, practice makes perfect. Over the years I've perfected it a little bit. I'm always still nervous when I do it. The trick is I give myself a really large blend area. So the colour, the new colour is about there. And that's my shadow, by the way. And the new colour is about there. And you just flick it out as far as you can. And then I've lacquered the whole panel. I took it into the door a little bit here so that we didn't have an edge to edge on the two silvers. And again, flick it out. And then lacquer and the fade out thinner here. No fade out thinner on that side other than just down the bottom there. We'll unwrap the whole car and see how it looks. I know it's a bit dark at the moment. The orange peel is a little bit stronger than I'd like it to be because it was so cold yesterday, I think. I'm not going to muck about with it too much. We'll run the machine polish over it later on. It is just a £1,995 car after all. And I did say I wasn't actually going to sort the scrapes in the door. I didn't actually filler it and all that kind of stuff to take out the slight ding there is there because again, time-wise, we'd have run short time. I didn't have time to be forming and shaping it. I do think the customer's going to be happy because the door handle was all scraped up. And then we had really big slashes down here and here in the bodywork. It's a shame because I've now there is some crazing of the lacquer at the back here. If I had the time, now I know the silver's a fairly decent match. I could have gone into there. But I think, you know, with the cost of the paint and everything else, I think we're coming down to sort of like £300 margin on this. So I have to get realistic about what I can do on £300 margin. Don't forget, when we talk about margin, we're talking out the door margin. That means nothing because you can still pick up bills later on, obviously warranty claims. So that's kind of your initial figure. Where you go after that, who knows? So the little Fabia is all set for pickup. Did the last finishing touching, like replacing the rusty bolts for the screws for the number plates. One of the reasons we kept hold of this car is just because it's got 137,000 miles on, so it's not a good retail idea, but full service history, like 100% full, and still got the supply and main dealer's number plates on it and one owner from new. So although the mileage was there, this has been a better Fabia than a lot of the Fabias I've had with half the mileage on. There's no timing chain rattle, anything like that at all. And apart from the bit we did on the door, condition-wise overall is really good. And you can see now, with the machine polish I've given it a coating of GT Shine. We did that MOT, which is new tyres, new discs and pads all round, new exhaust component. Spent about £700, I think, on the MOT, and sold the car for £1,995. We'll go through the spreadsheet on this a bit later on so you can see why it is so hard for car dealers who want to do the right thing and supply good quality cars to sell this kind of car. Now people go, oh, you should do your checks beforehand. I've had these kind of, you should do your checks beforehand and then you wouldn't be buying rubbish. Well, this is tyres and discs and tyres. So are you telling me that a 2-year-old car that needs tyres and discs is ready for the scrap heap? Don't talk such absolute rubbish. The components this needed was just normal serviceable items. It's just that 4 tyres isn't cheap. Discs and pads all round, or rear drums and discs on the front all round isn't cheap. It all adds up very quickly. And exhaust, again, exhaust components rot out on 3-year-old cars. So it wasn't that it was a bad car. It's just unfortunate that I ended up picking up the can, getting it all done. So, and then the realistic retail value for this with 137,000 miles is around 2k. So I always like to sell at fair price as well. I could have whacked the price up to 2,495, but who's going to come and see one with 137,000 miles on it when they can go and see one with, say, 80,000 miles on at that price point? Because we know the public don't value really, they should, but they value mileage over history. which is the wrong way round. Always history over mileage every time, guys. So we've got another little auto on the go. We've got PT back to work again. He's pulling his weight for once. We've got, as normal, with the Corsa. Now, those of you who watched the channel for a while may remember this. I took this one in part exchange with a bad head gasket, because all Corsas have a bad head gasket. All you can guarantee when you buy a Corsa is that it's going to have a bad head gasket, or it's going to have a bad timing chain. Isn't that true, Pete? That's usually. We took this one in because the mileage is good. They'd just had all the paintwork done. She'd actually just had the timing chain done, and then the head gasket went. But the car is super, super clean. I forget what the exact mileage is on it. But it's a small auto, and as we were talking about earlier, it will sell, no problem at all. What year is this one? This one is a 57 plate, yeah. 57 plate, not worth quite as much as the Mini. This will be a good sub 5k one, so this will be ideal. But yeah, we've got to obviously put quite a bit of cash into it, because we've got to get this head off, get it down, get it skimmed. We'll have to put a new timing chain kit in it, because you do regardless. So it's a good job that Pete works for Jaffa Cakes. Otherwise I wouldn't be able to afford to have it done. If you want to find out how we get on with that Corsa, with that Mini, and see if what we actually reach price wise with it, then don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, and also make sure you hit that subscribe button. Always, massive thanks to everyone for watching, and don't forget to check out that Surfshark offer. Remember, up to 6 months free. The link is in the video description down below. See you on the next one. Cheers, everyone. One more thing to remind you of, we've got our Citroen C1 raffle going on, our last raffle of the year. You could win this car for just £2.50. Again, a link is in the video description, and obviously a big chunk of that goes to support local charities.